Hiya, it's Lisa from Hollybobs, and today I've been asked to share the best and worst decisions I've ever made. So I decided to do it in a bit of a draw my lifestyle video. So bear with me because it's not always a great quality. It's quite hard to film one of these videos, but hopefully you'll see the story progress and enjoy the video. So thanks for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe at the end. Bye! In 2001, I had to make the decision of which university to go to. I originally lived in Yorkshire, however decided to make the long trip over the Pennines to the dark side of Manchester. It was at university that I met and fell in love with my now husband John, and after a year he proposed. Of course, once we graduated, we then had the decision of where to live. In 2006, we bought our first home, a little terrace. After 2 years, we decided to sell up and spent the next few years renting before eventually buying our current house. We've now lived in the area for 13 years and are really lucky to have not only family but lots of friends close by. I've also got really involved in the local blogging community, which has been fantastic for me as a stay-at-home mum to have this to do. Moving to Manchester was definitely the right decision for me. At 7 years old, I attended the local primary school, which was right round the corner from me. I was really happy here and lucky enough to make lots of friends. When I turned 11, there was the big decision of which school to go to. I really wanted to go to the local high school where all my friends would be going and where I would know lots of people. But my parents wanted me to go to a private school which was about half an hour away from our house. It meant that I would get a really good education, so in the end that's what we decided. However, I soon realised that I didn't fit in quite as well. Everybody else was getting A's all the time and I only got a B, so I was always classed as a failure. Add to that the many cliques in high school that I just didn't seem to fit into. When 16 came, I had another decision to make: stay at the private school where I was unhappy but getting a good education, or go to the local college. I think fear of the unknown led me to stay in the private school, but now looking back I can see it probably wasn't the right decision for me. When 2009 arrived, my husband and I had been trying to have a baby unsuccessfully for 4 years. We'd actually had one course of IUI, which of course involved all the different equipment and was completely invasive, including me having to have injections in my bum every day for a few weeks. In 2010, my husband was offered an opportunity to move to America with his company. It was a big decision for us, but considering the failure of our fertility, we decided to go for it. His new offices were in New York, so we packed our bags and moved to Manhattan, and we had an amazing few months exploring the city, seeing all the touristy things. Family and friends came to visit, and it was just an unbelievable experience. Of course, after 3 short months of being in the city, we found out I was pregnant, and our little girl arrived in December 2010. We can definitely look back and say moving to America was one of the best decisions we ever made. Not only did we have an amazing time, but we also came home with a little girl. A few years ago, I was working as an estate agent for a horrible boss and I really hated it. I decided to go back to admin and took a job for quite a lot less money, but also a lot less responsibility. Of course, over the time I was there, the money didn't increase, but the responsibilities did. One day, the boss decided to pull everybody in the office to have a quiet word with them about how they could see the company improving, and I was asked all sorts of questions such as, what do you think we could do in this economy? And what changes do you think we could make to our company to improve it? It just all became a little bit too much, and I decided on the spot that I was not going back, and I quit without handing any notice in. Looking back, this is a really stupid decision because every interview I went to after this, I didn't have any references, so I got turned down for every job, and I ended up temping for a couple of years, doing things like checking ballot entries, and I was a PA, and it was probably not the best decision ever because I really struggled to get a job after that. In 2010, our little girl was born. She was born in California, in America, and we always call her our little California girl. So obviously at the time we were living in America, and whilst it was an amazing place to live, and of course it was gorgeous and sunny, We weren't near home and it was quite difficult. Public transport was really slow and it took me ages to get anywhere, and as we only had one car, I generally spent my time around the apartment with just my dog and my daughter for company, and some days we'd go out and I would literally just walk round and round the apartment block because there was nothing else to do. Of course, there was always technology, and we did used to Skype and speak to my family and my husband's family, but it just wasn't the same. They were 8 hours ahead of us, so as we were getting up in the morning, everybody else was going to bed. So in the end, we decided it was time to move home, and we packed up all our belongings, put them in the U-Haul, and me, my husband, our daughter, and of course our little Jack Russell decided to make the trip home. We made the 10-hour journey back to Manchester, back to England, and back home to our families, and it was one of the best decisions we definitely made because it was so much better once we were home. When I was pregnant with my little girl, we saw doctors regularly. My due date was the 24th of December, however, being quite small, I always measured pretty big, and once we saw the doctor and she knew our due date, she decided to bring it forward by a week till the 19th. I was actually induced, which meant obviously I was tied to the hospital bed. As inductions go, it lasted ages, and after 40 hours I'd just had enough. I ended up in an emergency section and had my little girl on the operating theatre table. Of course, we were happy that we had a healthy baby, but I do often look back thinking, was the induction the wrong decision to make, because I never had a natural birth after that. So there's just a little bit about the decisions I've had to make in my life. I'd love for you to share your own best and worst decisions, or maybe even how you make decisions, what you do. Maybe do you plan your decisions? Do you think about them? Do you write pros and cons lists? Let me know in the comments below, and do share your videos. I'd love to see them. Thanks for watching. Bye!